Update. Am I the a-hole for losing it and screaming at my girlfriend to get out of my house after what her stepbrother did? Original post. My girlfriend was over at my place 2 days ago. We're both 20. She has a stepbrother who's 23. Before this, I'd only met him a few times, and he seemed like a regular dude. She asked if it was okay for him to come over for a couple of hours, and I said why not. He said he would bring booze and pizza, and since my parents were away visiting relatives for the weekend, I figured we could hang out. I have a little sister who's 15. She stayed in her room the entire time. We were all a bit tipsy, and my girlfriend's stepbrother asked if he could use the bathroom. I pointed him to the one down the hall. My girlfriend and I were preoccupied and didn't realize how much time had passed until we heard raised voices upstairs. We immediately went to check what was going on and found my sister crying. Apparently, instead of using the bathroom, he went upstairs. My sister's door was ajar, and he walked into her room. She was shocked and tried to stay calm, but he wouldn't leave. He started trying to chat her up. When she told him to get out, he closed the door behind him instead, which made her panic. She tried to get past him to open the door and he grabbed her, but she managed to open it. By the time I got upstairs, he had backed off. I was furious. There was a lot of yelling and accusations. We were all drunk except for my sister. After hearing her side, I confronted him. He was stuttering and trying to deflect. I'm pretty sure I threatened violence at some point. My girlfriend tried to be the mediator. She said I needed to calm down and couldn't fly off the handle based solely on my sister's word. But I was there. I saw my sister crying and panicking. I know her, and I know she wouldn't lie about something like this. Why would she? I told her stepbrother to get out of my house. My girlfriend kept saying we could sort this out and have a proper conversation, but I didn't see what there was to discuss. Then she said, "What if your sister is lying? Right in front of my sister?" I asked her what would make her think that, and she said, she's a kid and could be making it up for attention. That's when I lost it. I told her to get the heck out. She's been calling me ever since, but I ignored her. The dust has settled a bit. I went over everything again with my sister, and she promised me it happened exactly as she told me. She said she was scared he was going to essay her. This morning, my girlfriend texted me saying I shouldn't have raised my voice and that I scared her. I thought about apologizing, but she still hasn't said a word about apologizing to my sister or addressing her stepbrother's actions. When I asked about him, her response was that there's no hard proof. He ended up doing nothing and I should drop it. She claims she'll deal with him. I don't know if I'm the a-hole for how I handled this. Maybe if cooler heads had prevailed, the silent treatment wouldn't have happened, and we could have talked things through. I love her and don't want this to be the end, but I need advice on what to do moving forward. Now for the top comments. I'm sorry, but your girlfriend is just as trashy as her freaking pedo brother. Yep, she's just as gross as that predator for defending him. Not the a-hole. Protect your sister. And maybe have a big long talk with girlfriend. If she doesn't understand, then reevaluate your relationship. I'm definitely not losing sleep over the way I treated a stepbrother. I think I should have done worse and could have done worse. But I just wanted him out of the house. I'm mad because, over these 2 days, all her texts have been about how she felt and how I could have handled this better. She keeps saying she's never seen this side of me, which is all true, but when I messaged her back to ask about her brother, her response was effectively, "Drop it." I can't believe she's being so callous about this. Hey girlfriend, this isn't about you and your feelings. Your adult, drunk stepbrother went into the bedroom of my underage teenage sister, shut the door behind him, and would not leave. The best thing I could do was make him leave. Rather than being appalled and apologetic, you had the audacity to question whether my sister was being honest, right in front of her, at which point I lost my temper. How could you accuse her of lying while seeing how upset she was? Even if you had doubts, that wasn't even vaguely the time or place. Since this happened, the only person you've cared about is yourself. You want an apology for my being angry and shouting, but not once have you apologized or even asked about my sister. Again, this isn't about you. And I don't think this is going to work out since I want to protect my underage sister, and you want to protect your feelings and your potential predator of a stepbrother. Am I sorry I raised my voice at you? Yes, but if ever a situation warranted it, it was this one. And no, you've never seen me like this because I've never been in a position where a grown man shut himself in my sister's bedroom and made her afraid she was going to be essayed. Now we're done, and there's nothing left to say. That's what I said to her. She's a shitbag, and I'd bet he's done this crap before. Now for the update. First off, thanks to everyone who commented on my previous post. I tried to read as many comments as I could, and I got some great advice. My girlfriend asked me yesterday if we could talk in person. I agreed, and we met at a public park. She showed up already looking on the verge of tears. User Buttered Crumpet09, your comment was spot on. I basically said it word for word to her. Lol. She let me speak and was silent for a long time, before she said she was sorry for the way she had reacted. She told me she had been drunk, panicked, and hadn't been thinking clearly, trying to stop it from becoming a fight. We discussed her stepbrother. She told me he has a weird streak and acts oddly sometimes. She said he genuinely could have made a mistake and didn't mean any harm. I asked why he went upstairs in the first place and why he shut himself in with my sister after realizing he was in the wrong room. No answer. I asked how she could be so sure he had no perverted intentions. Again, no answer. Some of you suggested that the stepbrother might have a history or even done something to her. I didn't outright say it, but I was implying it. I kept asking, what if he had gone further? What if he's assaulted someone before and you don't know about it? I asked if there had been incidents like this before, and how she could possibly downplay what happened. She didn't respond. By that point, she was too choked up to speak properly, so I don't think she could have answered even if she wanted to. Anyway, I wasn't there to listen to excuses or justifications, and I told her that. She asked me if we were over, and I said the only way we could move forward was if she apologized to my little sister and then cut all contact with her stepbrother. I don't see a scenario where my sister feels comfortable around him again. She told me she didn't want to lose me, but she couldn't do what I asked. So I told her yes, we're done. My parents came back this morning. Like I said, they had been out of town visiting relatives. I hadn't told them about this over the phone. I just said an incident had happened and I would explain when they got back. My sister asked me to speak to them on her behalf, so I told them everything. My dad gave me a lot of grief, rightfully so. He says he wants to speak to my ex's parents about this and let them know what their son did. The police here are about as useful as tits on a bull, and we discussed it, and we're going to file a report, auto de noticia, anyway. I highly doubt it will go anywhere, but at least it will be on record. My sister is doing better. She was really shaken up and asked if she could sleep in my parents' room or mine for a bit. We'll probably arrange a therapy or counseling session for her and let her decide if she wants to continue. I'm going to take her bowling and then get food, just the two of us, so I can also apologize. I feel upset and guilty, honestly. I trusted my ex, and my naivety put my little sister in danger. I've always thought I was a responsible person, and this happening when I was supposed to be in charge is messing me up. I'm mad at myself, not gonna lie, but we move on. My favorite comments to read were the ones telling me what to do to the stepbrother. I don't ever want to see his face again, but in case I do, someone let me know if you have a wood chipper lying around. Thanks again, everybody. Edit? People have asked if I can run a background check or something. I don't think it's legal for a civilian to do that in my country, Portugal, and I don't know if I can request one, but I'll see. Also, to everybody commenting about underage drinking, I was so confused. That's not a problem here, lol. I won't be incriminating myself for anything by filing a report, so don't worry. I was waiting for this update. Good on you, mate. I still think the creep did something to your ex, which is why she kept deflecting and answering vaguely, saying he acts odd sometimes. Even if he did, it's not your responsibility now though. Your poor baby sister. Hopefully she heals quickly from this. Most people seem to think so. I will say my ex's mother has been with her stepdad for nearly 6 years. She never liked discussing her family and had only recently introduced me to all of them. She never gave any indication of a bad relationship between her and her stepdad/brother. I would have never guessed in a million years if abuse or assault was happening. I hope that's not the case, because that would be seriously messed up. Personally, I don't think it did her something such as abuse or assault, but something more insidious, like grooming. That would explain why she's so vague about him. She told me he genuinely could have made a mistake and didn't mean any harm. Ah yes, because going into a 15-year-old's room, stopping them exiting, and closing the door is totally a mistake, and totally harmless actions. Your ex better not complain. Say he made a mistake and didn't mean any harm if/when he does it again to another 15-year-old, and their brother ends up shooting him. That's what is so scary about it. OP directed him to the downstairs bathroom and went upstairs anyway, while the ex-girlfriend distracted OP. Anyone with any manners would wait a bit if someone is in a bathroom to give them time for their business. I shudder to think what would have happened if the stepbrother had managed to get the sister to be quiet or get a hand over her mouth. I have trouble believing the ex-girlfriend wasn't in on it. Last story. Am I the a-hole for saying my brother shouldn't have brought his pregnant girlfriend to my wedding and for refusing to let her be in my wedding photos? I got married last weekend, and I'm still so angry at what my brother did. He took all the attention away from me and my husband. Normally, I don't feel a need to be the center of attention, but this was my freaking wedding day. I feel like it's all anyone was talking about during the wedding, and now it's the main thing anyone remembers from the entire event. It was a destination wedding within the US, so nothing too crazy. We kept a guest list to our families, immediate and extended, as well as our closest friends. My parents paid for our immediate family to arrive about 5 days ahead of time. So it was my parents, my sister, and me initially, with my brother arriving a few days later. We knew my brother was bringing a date, no big deal. He said he was just bringing a girl from school. He didn't even call her his girlfriend officially. My parents showed up at the airport to pick my brother up, and there he was, hand in hand with an obviously pregnant girl that none of us had ever met. My parents were understandably taken aback. My brother greeted them like everything was normal, according to my mom, and my parents didn't know what to say. Then he just said, "Surprise!" My poor mom almost fainted, and my dad allegedly yelled out, "What the heck have you done?" He introduced us to this girl, but didn't clarify if she was his girlfriend or provide much information at all. It was very weird. It was obvious she was uncomfortable. She said she wasn't feeling well and needed to go lay down after the flight. So at dinner, it was just our family as she rested. We awkwardly sat around a table eating, barely saying a word. Finally, my mom asked brother's name. "Is that your baby?" By then, we all assumed it was, but my mom needed confirmation. The lack of explanation or details from him was just odd. He admitted it's technically not his baby, but he's in love with her and intends to be a father to the baby anyway. The actual father isn't involved and doesn't want to be, and if they get married, he can adopt the baby and be the legal father. She's living with him and none of us knew this either. He's been her main support person throughout the pregnancy. She's 28 weeks, well, 29 now since this was over a week ago. This was worse than what we had all assumed. He is so in love with her that he's willing to take on the responsibility of her child and marry her, yet we'd never even heard of her. He said he'd mentioned her quite a few times. Well, maybe he'd mentioned her name in passing, not to me, maybe to my parents, but never said she was his girlfriend or pregnant. None of us understood. He's 21, about to graduate college, planning to enter law school, and he's an attractive guy. Why would he do this? My parents, especially my mom, were stressed out about it all weekend long, throughout my entire wedding weekend. It was like my wedding became an afterthought. All my parents could talk about was how to make my brother change his mind about this girl. Then when the wedding photographer was taking family pictures, he wanted her in them. That was really the breaking point for me. She isn't family. None of us knew about their relationship, and we'd met her only 2 days prior. She shouldn't be in our official family pictures for my wedding. It's like, forget the bride and groom. Look at this random, heavily pregnant woman hitching herself to my brother. No, I told him no. I refused to let her be in the photos. My mom made me allow her to be in one picture, but said we don't have to buy that one or display it anywhere. It just made my blood boil. Anyway, I don't think he should have brought her. There was no reason to bring her to my wedding, especially without warning. I mean, it's all my side of the family could talk about, and he was hesitant to even correct them about it not being his baby. He said that's because it was awkward for her to have to explain the full scenario to everyone, so he just let people think what they wanted. Because he wouldn't say anything, everyone was gossiping and wondering about it the whole time. I'm posting this because I'm upset that several friends, and even my own mom, are telling me I'm overreacting and just need to accept it. When I told a group of my coworkers about it after the fact, they weren't at the wedding. They agreed with me and thought what my brother did was absolutely insane and rude. Now for the comments. I think he knew in a wedding setting that attention would be divided. Your wedding was his meat shield. Interesting take, and something I hadn't thought of. He was purposely trying to take attention away from me at my wedding. He just wanted some of the attention taken off of him, and his poor decisions? Still selfish. Yeah, your feelings are valid, and you haven't overreacted or anything. Not the a-hole. What he did was an a-hole move, though he probably didn't think it through enough to realize all the implications of his actions. He absolutely shouldn't have dropped that bomb at your wedding, or any wedding. I don't think he did it to be malicious. I don't think he thought about what he was doing to me. He also hasn't apologized though. If after being told something you did was rude and hurtful, at least own up to it. He knew exactly what he was doing. Such an a-hole move on his part. What did he think would happen? He couldn't let you have the attention on your wedding day? Is he that spoiled? Not the a-hole. He's the youngest child. He definitely gets away with more than my sister and I ever could. Anything he does usually gets forgiven.